I'm still impressed when I meet young people who've come into that whole sphere, what a haven they find it to be. I mean, and I'm horrified at the aspects of it that are so cult-like and brainwashed. But there is an aspect of it's a place where I get to, I get to participate in things that are healthy and that are uplifting and that are teaching me and opening me spiritually. Um, so I was just, I was along for the ride. I'd given him all my money. I sold my car, and I must have given him that money too. I just lived. Most of the other people that would live in the house with him, with us, for those first 3 years, we were supporting everything. We were paying for the food, we were paying the rent, we were driving the cars, we were doing everything. So I gave my all,
Right.
and uh, and I didn't really have thoughts of leaving or thoughts of going anywhere. I didn't like things that you know I didn't like being pushed away from him, obviously, and I took it very personally. But I had to keep learning, letting go, struggling with, with all of the things that are brought up for me. Um, but I was dedicated and committed, and I continued to um, continue to be very willing to sacrifice even a personal life if he hadn't been so corrupt.
You don't really talk about anybody who you would consider a best friend among those. What seems to keep coming up is that you were,
Isolated.
yeah, you were a person who was not supposed to have best friends.
Right. Well, he really, a principle that he used to quote quite frequently, and I'm sure that being in India under British rule, um, the Indians that had the kind of awareness that he did understood the English policy they called conquer and divide. And his staff was kept, he would stroke one person to make another person jealous. He would, give attention over here, and that's going to trigger this one over here. And then he would complain that he always had to be putting out fires with his staff because they regarded him as a boyfriend. Well, yeah. And and so he kept everybody off balance and divided against each other. And that kept him, it gave him, he could whisper one thing in one's ear, he could whisper the same thing in another ear. And neither one of them was going to tell the other because that's my special, you know, thing that he told me. And so, when I wrote my book, I realized I don't know how many of the staff people heard him saying those things to me. Although, he's said a lot in public too of those kinds of things about me, having this big role and this big responsibility. I mean, there were times he went marching out of the room saying, "You can all leave me, and Premka can just handle it all, or I'll leave you. I mean, Premka will handle everything."
That would have been great for your friendships with the other people, I suppose.
Well, and so where my friendships were, and it's so interesting because they still are. It's with the men of the Khalsa Council, the men who were heading up the ashrams. Because when I would be coordinating solstices, they would be the heads of different aspects of solstice. They were the people I had to work with, that I kept in touch with long distance for whatever, reports or just, checking in with each other on what's needed, what's coming, what's happening. And the Khalsa Council was like 60, 70 mostly males that headed up all the different centers. So the long-term friendships that I have are with those men, and that's who's, well, three of them wrote the endorsements on the back of my book, as well as Tara Brock, who was a former teacher. She wasn't, I don't think she was on the Colsi Council, but it's like those were the people that I had something like a friendship with. I say everybody was kept separated from one another, off balance. If he was, you know, I was always by him. When you're with him, he is the center of all activity. Nobody else talks to each other. It's all him. So you never had a chance to hang out and become friends with anyone. You know, we didn't go out to coffee together. We didn't go have a drink together. it was it was strictly rotating around him all at all times.